Welcome to On Second Thought. I'm John Price, and I'm here with our pastor, Jay Hackett, where every week we take a deeper dive into life at Peachtree Corners Baptist Church. Whether we're talking about the latest sermon, upcoming events, or just whatever's on Jay's mind, this is your insider look at our church, our staff, and what makes PCBC your church on the corner. So join our conversation as we help you find community, purpose, and growth. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to On Second Thought. It is, for us, it's Wednesday around 11:15. We normally record on Mondays, but we had our staff retreat this weekend. Started Sunday afternoon, went till Tuesday. I think we got back here around noon-ish. Yeah. So had a chance to do a little bit of big scale 40,000 foot view strategy planning, talking about our ministries. You want to speak to that for a second? No?
Yeah. No, we had a great time. We brought in Scott Kindig, who the guru of just different ministries and good friend of both of ours, mentored us for years.
Love Scott.
Yeah, we love Scott. Scott's just fabulous. But Scott has been around so long, he has forgotten more than the average bear will ever learn. But really kind of just talk to us about how to scale and how to look at some different things, when to know, is it time to, to start some new stuff. And, and so we just kind of work through some of those things, work through, thinking through how do we get from A to B, and some of the different ways that we can do that. He talked to us a little bit about just some of the laws of the church, and thinking through what we need to be focused on. And it's so good because so many times we become so insider focused with a lot of things. And he was saying those are fine, but you've got to take the church outside. And
So when you say laws, what do you mean? Because that might be confusing for folks who didn't like the law. It was 7 laws.
There were 7 laws. Yes. Do you remember what those 7 laws were?
One was the law of context.
Yes.
And so that was local is better than
imported.
And we talked about how, a couple decades ago, Saddleback did such a great job with purpose-driven church.
Correct.
Such a great job that so many people tried to transplant and just lay it over the grid of, rural whatever town and say, well, it worked there in Orange County, Simi Valley. Surely it can work here with our...
Correct.
And because of that, a lot of churches split, struggled, lost pastors. It's, you can't do church by equation, and just understanding who your people are, the context of your mission field. And so, those kind of laws, what are some things that we need to be mindful of? We have to be settled on mission.
Mm-hmm.
It's about mission before worship.
Yeah.
And that was kind of interesting.
That was fun. That drummed up a lot of good conversation.
Yeah.
And what I loved, Scott was never saying that worship is wrong.
Right.
But worship's not the driving factor. The mission of what God has called us to, and we went back and read through Matthew 28. And, as you read Matthew 28, it's not this focus of, he jokingly put up the, go therefore, get them to come to your church, so that they can be baptized into a small group, and learn to serve for a couple hours a week. Kind of that mentality. And Jesus is like, no, I'm calling you to go and to baptize them and to teach them to obey everything that I've commanded them. Lo, I'm with you always. But it's this idea of, yes, we have been called to grow. I used the illustration a few weeks ago. Those that love football, there's a time to huddle, and there's a time to go to work. And so I think what we've done as a church for so long is we've just huddled because, it's about this, it's about worship. It's about these feelings. It's about these good things that are happening and going on. And it's about being an ambassador for the kingdom and recognizing, yes, I need to huddle. This huddle is vital to my ability now to go and to do the mission of the church and
Right.
to look at those that are around me and how do I connect to them and how do I, have good conversation with them.
And I think, when we think about the Great Commission, we think it's like three things.
Yeah.
Make disciples, baptize, and then, teach. And it's actually one thing. He's saying make disciples. And here's what that
Here's
looks
how
like.
they do it.
Yeah, by baptism, which is giving your allegiance.
Yep.
And then it's not teaching, it's teaching to obey. Right. So
Yeah.
it is that action step. It's allegiance, and that leads to action is what it means to be a disciple.
Yeah.
So we covered some good material, but I think as important is we had fun together.
Oh,
we got to be together as kind of the ministry team. And that was fun.
It's always encouraging just to sit around and laugh. Didn't have much food. We kind of fasted together for 3 days straight.
Yeah, that's not
true. If you believe that. Got some oceanfront property in Arizona.
Yeah.
I'd love to sell you.
Yeah.
No, we had a great time. It's good to get away, and it's good to connect with everybody, and then just open our hearts and kind of share. Hey, here's maybe a struggle or two that are happening in my area right now, or here's some things that we're really praying about, and things that we want to see as we move forward. And so how do we prepare for those things? I've said for so long we kind of have been in that maintenance mode of just let's keep everything going well. Let's keep our programs where they're supposed to be. Let's keep, people happy and do these different things. And it's like, okay, now we've got to get out of maintenance mode and get into a multiplication mode of going, all right, what are we doing to be proactive to reach the next generation? What are we doing to be proactive to reach our families and our community? And how do we begin to take some steps to really accomplish that?
And there's usually a couple things that happen in growth is one, if you're not talking about that stuff, you get caught flat-footed.
Correct.
And then you're trying to scramble, you're treading water, people are falling through the cracks, they're not getting the equipping they need to come alongside to help be a part of leadership. And then two, you can kind of be just confined to all that you know. And so to have somebody from the outside and somebody who is a consultant, and because some churches, all they know is we'll just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And what happens there is, of course, it taxes resources, space, that kind of thing, but it also changes the dynamic.
Correct.
A church of 200 feels different from a church of 500, feels different from a church of 1,000. And so you don't lead them, or, it doesn't run the same. So you have to kind of be prepared. So Scott had some good suggestions, some things that we hadn't considered. And there are a lot of different ways to answer growth, to be ready for growth. But
absolutely,
that's something that for some time you've kind of put on us to say, be thinking about this, guys. We want to be ready before it takes place, even though we are growing. We've got people coming and joining.
We're seeing a lot of that happen.
Yeah.
But still to be prepared for and to get out in front of it. I think that's the big thing for us, and just excited to see it. It's not to, everybody says, oh, we're just concerned with numbers. No, we're not. We're concerned with people. And, our church is built on community. It's built on connection with other people. And we're like, hey, man, there's people that need to be connected with, that are longing for community. And so how do we create the best atmosphere for that to happen and for people to feel that community? And that's why it's so important to be having some people in the pipeline, that are going, okay, hey, we need to start a new group here, or we need to think about how we do this. And, and there's so many different ways to do it. That's what was fun for me, was just the collaboration of let's talk about things. When we flip-flopped the worship service and life groups, it was like, can we do this? But it's kind of one of those things to think about. What are our options? There's really 7 days in the week, not one. and we always think that, it has to happen between 9 and 12 if it counts, kind of a thing on a Sunday morning. And so just, good ideas are being thrown out to say, how do we connect with people around throughout the week, different things that we can do to impact more lives and prayerfully, see them come to Christ and, get connected to our church, but if not our church, a church, right? Because it's not a competition. Really, the body of Christ is completion. And so how do we work towards that and seeing more and more people come to know him? And it's just been neat to watch it. Our staff is so ready. I really feel like everybody's poised to go, hey, I'm ready for what's next. And God keep straining me, keep stretching me, and use me, but I can't do it alone. And so that's the key thing for me is grabbing, Ephesians, which tells us that we're here to help equip the saints to do the work of the ministry, and just keep grabbing people up alongside of us and going, hey man, come check this out. One thing Scott was talking about was we are helping create hero makers, right? We're not the hero.
We're hero makers.
Yes.
Creating heroes. Yes.
That's it. We're hero makers, creating heroes. Let somebody else step into that and see that and just experience the gift mix of what God's given them and go, wow, that was awesome. I love the fact that God used me in that situation and so we just get out of the way and let people continue to do the work of the ministry, and we help train them up, send them out.
Yeah, that's, Donald Miller makes that point in Story Brand, where he talks about we mistakenly think that people need a hero, or in our marketing of as a church or an organization, a company business, that we're the hero. We're going to solve your problem. And people want to be the hero. And so helping them, equipping them to be, for fathers to be the heroes in their family, in their marriage, to, for kids to be heroes among their friends too. And so that's a cool concept. And, as we started looking at, because we're all busy, we don't need another program. We want to start with saying, what are the needs of our people? Yeah. So, as we think about, not even in a broad sense, as we think about individuals, because that's where it stops being a number. We think about a certain person or a certain couple or a certain family, and then those we start seeing more and more and say, there's a huge need for us to help them with marriage, with, raising kids, with knowing how to grow in their faith and know what the metrics are for, growing spiritual. What does maturity look like? So, it was good. And I think it also dovetailed nicely with the series that you just ended on Sunday.
Correct.
From success to significance. Yeah. And
it was, I think it was a great series, just in the fact that, you work through this idea that all of us have influence in some regard, whether that's at home, whether that's in our neighborhood, with the HOA, maybe it's somewhere in our work. But all of us have this influence. And the question is, how are we using that? Are we using the influence to make a kingdom impact more so than anything else? And so, the series really just kind of said, okay, success isn't wrong, success isn't bad, but success isn't the goal. Significance is the goal. And so God has given me a platform to make a big deal out of him. I was watching a reel this weekend, and there was a player from LSU, and he said, as a freshman, he said they make all of us get up in front of the whole team, and you have to perform. Basically, he said you have 5 minutes to perform, and whether it's sing a song, it's do karaoke, do a dance, but basically it's something that they try to make you feel embarrassed, right? Because you're up in front of the entire team. You're a freshman. You're trying to make an impact. And he said, I was thinking through, all right, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And he said, I just felt like the Holy Spirit said, I want you to preach. And he was like, okay, this is the only chance maybe I get to be up in front of this whole team as a freshman. And he goes, I preach the gospel. And he said, and they showed him a clip of him. And I mean, I'm telling you what, he said, it was as clear of a presentation of the gospel that ever before. He goes, here's what I want you to know about me. I am a follower of Jesus first, a football player second.
Yeah.
And this is what makes all the difference in my world. And it was just neat because he kind of was describing, knowing his time was coming up, just the spiritual warfare that he was going through, of going, the enemy just sitting right there going, you don't want this to be what these guys remember about you right off the bat. And man, the pressure it's going to put on you, all these different reasons. But he said, every time God just gave me the strength to step into that. And he goes, no, I want this to be something of significance more than anything else. And I just thought, man, what a use of your platform to be able to bring glory to God. And, you know, sometimes we think, oh, well, if people think I'm a believer, if they know I'm that, man, it changes everything about my job. I got to be more cautious about the words that I say. I have to be more cautious about my anger. I have to be, you know, and the answer is yes.
Right.
You do, because now it's like, okay, I am here as an ambassador. I'm here representing someone else in this space. And so it should change the way that we think about things, do things, you know, doesn't change who we are as a person, but it goes, God, you've wonderfully created me this way, and I want to use my impact as a difference. And so Sunday we talked about the fact that it's not about titles, it's about a towel, right? It's this idea of the king of the universe humbled himself so far as to say, I'm here to serve, right? You know, and in Mark, he tells us, I didn't come to be served, I came to serve, and to give that as an example to you. And so the example to us is, okay, if it's not about titles, it's about a towel, then every morning my prayer should be simply this: Lord, who do I need to serve today? Who do I need to serve? How can I make a difference in somebody else's life? And as we look for those opportunities, I promise you that is a prayer God always answers. He really does. If we say, God, just let me serve somebody today, he'll be like, okay. You know, and he begins to show you who that person is, how you can do it. And it's just that humility of understanding, God, I'm not better than anybody else. I'm not here because, you know.
And I would suggest there's someone every day we can serve, whether we pray that prayer or not.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's in the prayer, it's in the praying, not that God's necessarily like, oh, okay, I'll put something there, but it's saying, God, help me to be aware where I can be an ambassador for you. And so it is, if it's a part of our routine of prayer, we become more aware of the things and opportunities that have always been there.
Correct.
And then we just become servants as part of who we're called to be.
Yeah. And so watching the king wash the feet, you know, and knowing, and I mentioned it Sunday, I've looked so many times for a verse that says everybody but Judas, you know, because there's just some people we're like, I'm not doing that. That's so beneath me, you know. And it's hard.
It is.
It is hard. I'm not trying to say that it's the easiest thing to do is to go serve those who betray you or who are completely opposite of you, who cannot stand you, who have physically told you, I hate you, you know, kind of a thing. And, oh, well, I'm going to kill them with kindness today. You know, we like the kill them part. We don't like with kindness. You know, it's like I could come up with a few things that I'd like to do to this person, but it's, all right, Lord, how can I show you today? That's really what I want to do. And I need to be able to have your strength to be able to accomplish that, because the flesh wants revenge. The flesh wants my version of justice, you know, all these different things. And it's like, you didn't try that. You know, you came and you served, you loved. And, you know, and there's some of you out there that you hear that and you go, where's truth? Where's truth? You keep saying love, love, love. And the answer is truth is still truth. But truth doesn't truly get heard sometimes unless there's love.
Right.
You know, and so it's Jesus would meet a physical need first, then a spiritual need. And so instead of us wanting to run in with truth, we run in love, and truth follows with it and gives you opportunity then to share. I mean, you and I having a conversation, because of our relationship, you can come with truth quicker.
Right.
Because I already know the love is there.
Yeah.
Right. I know that we've built that relationship and we have that closeness to where I know John loves me. Right. And when John says something, in a way, what he's bringing to me is truth. And it's truth that I may not want to hear, but it's truth I've got to hear.
Right.
And, but the truth comes quicker when there's already relationship. And so as you look at some of these things, I think the relationship has to be built in order for truth to be heard.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And so
think about Nathan coming to King David.
Oh, yeah.
And, Nathan was a trusted advisor and using story where David was able to connect emotionally to a sense of justice for this guy who had been wronged. There was a sense of truth that he felt. Mm-hmm. He didn't realize that it was applying towards
Talking
him.
About me.
Yeah. And so, but if Nathan had been, here's the truth, Nathan would have been either looking for another job or
correct
beheaded
or
one. Yeah. Truth can be as obvious as, anything else, but if we aren't ready to hear it, if someone hasn't earned the right or the respect in our lives, we will push back. It'll hit a brick wall.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I don't want anybody listening, to think, we are compromising truth.
Right.
It's never about compromising truth, but it's just about, okay, how do I build relationship enough to be able to still share truth? Mm-hmm. And so, Grace and Truth, Logan's in the middle of a series right now with our students, and it's so vital that they would understand this and get this. And it's so vital for us as adults to still balance those two things of going, okay, how do I have grace with someone walking through whatever they're walking through, but also have truth and, kind of go, okay, when the moment is right, we can have this discussion and I can share, kind of where I'm at, what I'm feeling. But I feel like sometimes we use the sledgehammer approach and come rushing in and just let me show you truth. And it's like nobody's there to hear that truth.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we might think that the end result is for truth to be said. The end result is life change. The end result is transformation. The end result is for someone to come into the family of God, to be a part of. And so if you've got that sense of, I'm going to lay down a truth bomb and just humble this person, and your end goal is to be right, you're missing the point, and a lot of times you're sabotaging it's going to end up doing more harm than good.
Yeah. And I think that's, why a lot of people sometimes don't want to be around the church.
Sure.
Right. It's just that hard heart towards that at the moment. And the only one that breaks that is Christ. He's the one that draws. Yeah. And so we have to just be willing and open and go, hey, you know what? I'm going to love the people that God continues to put in my path. And as have opportunity, I'll share truth, but there's a way to share that in love. Share truth in love.
Right. 1 Peter 3. Yeah. Always be ready to give, but do in gentleness and respect.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, and it says in the scripture, it's his truth that leads to, it's his kindness that leads to repentance.
That's right.
And I've had to kind of share that with a new believer recently that was just kind of struggling with, the wrath of God, which there is the wrath of God. But that this idea that love builds up, knowledge puffs up, both are important, but it has to be led with love. Far too long or far too often the church leads with truth and not with love. We talked about that a couple episodes with dealing with culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and it's not being weak on truth.
No,
it is not. Earning the right to speak truth.
Correct.
Good.
And so that's just what that life of significance really leads to.
Yeah, it was a great series.
Had a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, and so just kind of shifting into activities and goings on at the church. We had the men's workday last weekend.
Yep.
Had about 25 guys come and have a good breakfast and fellowship, and then we went around the church and took care of some stuff. Moved some things, donated some items to Fully Furnished, threw some stuff away in the dumpster. So that, giving people an opportunity to serve, which creates space ongoing for us to, do ministry was good. And then we got a big weekend coming up.
So this Sunday is Octoberfeast. So y'all pray for good weather. That I like the cool weather we've been having. 70s is good.
Yeah.
A little overcast necessarily wouldn't even be bad, but we're going to pray the rain stays away for Sunday. But what'd you say? We had 300 pounds of barbecue?
Of a barbecue, pulled pork and shredded chicken. So please come. Invite a friend.
Invite people to come be a part of this. It's going to be a great weekend. We have moved everything back across the street. So we will be over on the fields and in the parking lot. The tent is already set up. So we're excited about that and just having a great time. We do have worship at 10:30.
Yeah, not 9:30.
Not 9:30 as is usual, but our 10:30 service time. No life groups this week. And then we'll grab kids from their rooms and then walk across the street. We'll have our police officers that'll be here and getting us over there and just having a great time of fellowship as we get ready to kick off Missions Month. So the entire month of October is going to be packed with all kind of great opportunities for you to serve and, for you and your family. And sometimes that's with us as a church. Sometimes it's not. It's just going, hey, you know what? We need to take this weekend and let's go over and help at Fully Furnished. Let's go over and see what's going on with Bennett, or let's go see what's going on with Tim, or,
Yeah, and I like Wallace has done a good job spreading it out over those Sundays to what we kind of refer to as, the community, the country, the world. We talk about in the church, in the community around the world, but our local missions are national and are international. And then also the persecuted church is what we're going to end it on.
Correct.
And so we'll have different guest speakers. The weeks that we have life group, there's an option for each life group to gear them around certain topics and stuff.
Church planning, persecuted church, different things.
Yeah.
Great
So that's going to be great. I would encourage you as well for Octoberfeast, if you would like to help prepare the food, serve the food, there is a huge need. We're hoping for around 700.
Yeah.
And so we've got the food to that end. And if you don't have to know how to cook. I mean, if you can do this and separate, meat and put it in stuff, I'll be doing that. I've got a conference in Atlanta Friday night, Saturday morning till noon. Then I'm coming back here to the church to get some of that stuff prepped. So Saturday afternoon and then day of, if you would like to help out with that team, I would love to have you help, because that's getting that food prepped and out and in the hands of our people is a lot of work.
It is.
And so we're excited about that.
It's just a great time of the church coming together and, just to use the word we use, fellowshipping together and, just seeing some familiar faces and maybe even seeing some unfamiliar faces and going, hey,
we hope to see a lot of unfamiliar faces,
and getting to know some new people. I love that our church does that and just really enjoys being together. And so it's a great opportunity, live music, a lot of fun. And so make plans to be with us this coming Sunday.
Yeah.
10:30.
Yeah. And if you're one of those people who loves to be together as a church, man, invite somebody into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to help people build community who maybe don't have community. And there are folks out there that are your neighbors, that are coworkers, that are friends, that you have the opportunity for this event to let them see what that can look like for them.
Right.
So, yeah. Great.
And it's huge. And, it breaks down a lot of walls. Mm-hmm. That's what I love about something like this is just, hey,
the normal people.
Come check us out.
Yeah.
And that's what you'll see. Is just normal people and be like, man, that was fun. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, kind of break the ice. Anything else?
I did see something because, the rapture was supposed to happen like on the 23rd of September.
I was not aware of that.
Yes. And so
I all over the internet, email.
Guy in South Africa had a dream. And because of that, the rapture was coming. And so I did find out.
Is that why we got the barbecue so cheap?
That is why we got the barbecues. Literally, people sold their cars. People sold their houses. They were like, man, this is coming.
I would have liked to have gotten into that deal.
Yeah. You could have bought a good house.
The commute would have been terrible.
But it turns out that an omniscient, omnipresent God didn't realize that we're no longer using a specific calendar. And so it has now been established that it will be the 7th or the 7th of October. And so that's the new date that is now being released. So I was just thinking in light of Octoberfeast, since the rapture's happening either Monday or Tuesday following that, you got to tell your neighbors to come because this may be their only shot at hearing the gospel. Of course,
this being tongue-in-cheek.
Yes.
But if you want to sell your house or your car, or even we're in the market for a truck.
A truck, yeah. We could use a truck for some things.
For the craftsmen and what. Then please let me know. That's an action step right there.
Action step. Give it to John for $1. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
And then, I know.
I think you can tell we've been on a staff retreat and we're a little tired.
No sleep.
Yeah.
But it's been a lot of fun. But I didn't know Monday or Tuesday, so we'll see.
I'll have to put that in my calendar.
Yeah. Don't because it's not happening.
No man knows the time or the hour.
Time or the hour.
Yeah.
Not even the sun. So.
Well, we have certainly taken your time. Not quite an hour, but we hope that you have enjoyed this episode. We always enjoy getting a chance to talk and share about what's going on at PCBC, what's coming up, and how you can be a part of it. So thank you for being a part of this episode, and we hope that you'll join us for next. We hope that you'll join us this weekend for Octoberfeast, and we hope that you have a great day. God bless. Well, that's it for this episode of On Second Thought. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend. If you have a question or thought, drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to find out more about your church on the corner, check us out at pcbchurch.org. We'll be back next week with more. So until then, have a great week and God bless.